Hey, what's up? Okay, so a little bit about Nate Ideas and Nate the Great. So, quick little backstory. The Nate Ideas was my very first business ever. I started a production company right outside of high school, maybe still in high school. I don't know if I came up with a name yet. My first paid project was actually my English teacher. Paid me $100. I had to give 100 of it to another kid from my class to get him to help me actually record the thing. It was a 2-camera shoot. Recorded her birthday, so I made my first $100 in video production in my senior year in high school for my English teacher. From there, I started doing weddings, blah blah blah. Started a video production business. Eventually, kind of let it go because of some job stuff and moving around. I got tired of doing weddings, to be honest. Back in the day, I didn't have the business skill to match my video skill, so I'd get really nervous, and I would have these stress dreams for 2 weeks before the wedding that I was gonna get there and I forgot all my batteries or all the tapes and stuff like that. So long story short, since then I've had done a lot of freelancing, multiple businesses, marketing, copywriting, video production, all kinds of stuff. So built that stuff up, built up my confidence. That's not an issue. But the reason I decided to bring it back, I've thought of it a few times. When I was up in Oakhurst, I thought about, I need a little extra money. I wasn't really aware of the Uber thing back then. CT, yeah, they would have had it. Plus, I don't know if I would have made any money in that town. I would have done Fresno. That would have made some money. But anyways, I thought about doing it. It just didn't seem like the right move for the time. And so fast forward to now. The reason I'm bringing Nate Ideas back now, and I've started up this new YouTube channel, which my students are already telling me, geez, Jared, you've got a million YouTube channels. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Sometimes you don't know you just have to try things, right? So, God puts something on your heart and doesn't give you all the details, and you just have to try. I mean, one of my favorite stories in the Bible is when, he told Abraham to go. I remember being so caught up on this idea of how did he know to go? Which direction did he know to go? And I couldn't. This is back when I felt like God was telling me to move out of my parents' house, ask Brandon to marry me, start our lives, and be involved in ministry. And I was like, how did he know which way to go? And I used to use the example in my hometown. We had the main freeway in town. The only freeway in town was the 99. And in my town of Atwater, when you go to get on it, there's this one particular exit where you'd pull up to a stop sign. Now there's a Starbucks and a whole shopping center, and it's a light and all that. But back in the day, it was across the street from the CHP station, just a bunch of empty lots. And you'd pull up to a stop sign, and you'd go left to go north, and you'd go, you turn right to go south. Fun fact, it was a north-south freeway, but in our town it went east and west. Just one more messed up thing about Merced and Atwater. So I was like, okay, so let's say, Abraham pulls up to this stop sign, and God said, leave your family, go on, do your whole thing, right? So how did he know when he came to that stop sign to go left or right, which direction to go on the 99? How did he know? Obviously, it wasn't literally on the 99. I'm using this as an example. And I asked so many people, and I wondered, and I just trying to figure it out, because I feel like God's saying to take this next step and, marry Brandy, who I had kind of just dumped, actually, technically. So it's like, oh, hey, yeah, don't break up with her. Ask her to marry you. So I was stuck. And finally, my pastor, Ralph Etheridge, made the comment, he didn't. He actually went the wrong way. If you look at the maps, one more reason that's lost on my generation. We don't look at the maps in the back of the Bible. We don't study the maps. This is one problem with my generation. We lose this kind of stuff. Thankfully, we have the internet where we can Google it and it can pull it up. So it's kind of bridging that gap a little bit. He said, if you look at the maps, if you study the maps, he actually started going the wrong direction. He started going one way, and he kind of turned around and went the other way. So it was like he didn't know. He actually just was obedient and started going the wrong direction, and God turned him around. And that was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I don't have to have this all figured out. I just have to take action. So if I make a left-hand turn and start going north, and God says, no, I want you south, I'm going to get redirected. I don't have to figure out every little detail. I just have to take the action what God's calling me on. Okay, so now we can, I like flash forward. Now we can flash forward. Been in Virginia for 2 years. God's been speaking to me on different things. I've been really seeking Him. And so things have been going from kind of cloudy to a little more in focus. I've been doing more video stuff. Probably about a year before I even got back into youth ministry, I felt like I was supposed to start up like a youth site or something along those lines. But I didn't do it because I'm like, I'm not even in youth ministry. Why would I start up a site about youth ministry if I'm not even a youth pastor? I'm like freelance copywriter and online marketer. So I didn't do it. Get back in youth ministry. We moved here. I think the last week in September 2 years ago. So it's almost been exactly 2 years. I'm about a week away. And by November, it was like, start up that youth blog. What am I going to blog about with youth ministry? So I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to do it. It can suck, and it can be whatever, and no one can listen to it or watch it, but I'm going to do it. So I started Youth Factor, did that for about a year, then I had Youth Factor TV, which was the main thing of the blog, and I had this Youth Factor TV show. I did that, which led into, I started vlogging, that turned into vlogging, which then from there that led into some other stuff. And so I spent a little over a year, about a year, not quite a year and a half, vlogging, not with any real purpose other than I was like, this just feels like the next iteration of this kind of fuzzy thing God said to do. And I didn't know exactly what it's for. I never quite 100%, like I was always struggling to have like the feel of the vlog. All right, so I really struggled with the identity of those channels. That's why I flip-flopped on the channels a little bit. Because like I said, at first I was like, there's the whole Youth Factor TV thing. And then I jumped back over my old channel, Geek Church, and I was trying to do this wordy thing. And I was really struggling with the identity, the channel identity, the channel purpose. All I had to go on was, I knew I needed to do something. So I was just taking action, I was just doing it. Over the summer, some stuff happened, and the actual very first video of this channel kind of explains all that. Right now it's private. So as of right now, you can't actually see it. At some point, I had it public, and I made it private. At some point, it'll go public again. So depending on when you're watching this, you'll be able to just go check that out or not. And that goes into a lot of the really micro details of what happened. But long story short, grandfather died. Went out to Texas for his funeral. Really just dealt with a bunch of my personal stuff and just figuring some stuff out. And through that process, I was like, you know what? The reason I'm struggling so much with these channels is because they're about something exterior. I mean, Youth Factor TV, even when it became the vlog, was about essentially telling other youth pastors how to do youth ministry, even when it was the vlog. And that's why I struggle with it, because I'm like, I'm not that experienced. I mean, yeah, I'm much more experienced than a lot of people, but then there's even way more who are more experienced than I am. So I struggle with that. And then I did the Geek Church thing, and I was doing this whole like vlog slash like Bible Answer Man type thing and commentary on it, and I was like, that's not really me either. So I was like, look, I need to just create a channel that literally, as narcissistic as this sounds, is just about me. It revolves around me, like a Casey Neistat type thing, where he originally started it to be about Beam, but then it just became his own little journal type thing. And I was like, I need to focus and take the advice from Gary Vee and document over create. So rather than creating these videos around these big ideas, I need to just document what I'm doing. And I need to have the freedom where it's not attached to ministry or this or that or anything. It literally rolls out of me. So what I'm going through, I felt like that would be most authentic, because obviously it's me. I'm not filtering it through this youth ministry expert lens or Bible expert lens or any of these kind of things. Give me the most creative freedom, because I can incorporate all the things that I'm into, and it's not like, well, I'm gonna go and do some stand-up comedy or go and do this drawing art thing, but that's not really what I've trained my audience to, think I do. So then, do I include this? Do I vlog this? So it gave me the freedom to literally focus around myself and my journey in ministry. Okay, so now that gets me the point of having the channel, and that kind of got me a little closer on the right track. I was still a little fuzzy on exactly what to do with the channel, other than just do what I do and document it. And then it became pretty clear. I went to LA. Things got much clearer in LA. So I go to LA on a missions trip for our youth group, and through that process it becomes really clear that not only, Gary Vee talks about document, don't create. Whereas I really need to do both. So I need to let go of some of the stuff on the vlog and just document. Let them just be episodes of me walking around with my phone, talking, discussing my stuff, whatever. But then there's also this creation side, so where I need to actually create short films. I was gonna be on the plane for like 8 hours twice, so I downloaded a bunch of videos. I had YouTube Red, and so I was like, I want a bunch of videos to watch. I'm gonna take my laptop to edit, but depending on how much room I have and if I'm feeling it, if I want to edit or not, I want to have a bunch of videos to watch. And so I ended up watching, somehow, like right before we came home, I kind of stumbled upon this genre of travel film. And I watched a ton of these travel films, which then led into these adventure films and this whole genre of people traveling around doing things and not just vlogging it, but the next step of where they're actually taking these great videos and pictures of like nice B-roll and putting together music and making these really cool videos. And it's like, this is cool, I like this idea. It would counter the whole documenting, this whole crate thing. So you can go on a trip and you can document it by just like this. I'm just talking, I'm documenting this night. But then I also can use my artistic side and do these like videos. And so it's like, yep, I want to do them differently. Like I don't just want to travel around for the sake of, I don't want to be like a stereotypical millennial, right? And just travel around for the sake of being there and putting a picture on Instagram. Sorry, millennials, if you're watching. I'm a millennial too, technically. Not barely. So I don't really fit the category, but on paper I am. So anyways, so I was like, I want them to have more purpose than that, which is a few months later how I came up with the idea of purpose films instead of travel films or adventure films. Same idea, except there's a purpose behind them. So I came up with this concept of, I was able to really record some cool stuff on this missions trip. What if and for a long time I've had this idea of like wanting to help missionaries, the twofold thing of helping them like get their word out, like me being good at content, and then like missionaries having so much potential for content, but not being the greatest, or just not having the time to really focus on it. So like back in the day, they come back with their slide projectors, missionaries come, they have all these great stories, they do their newsletters. Not a lot of them really do a lot of, when they're on the field, like putting stuff out, other than like their maybe quarterly newsletter. I was talking with someone, I said, look, literally most Americans, depending on where you are as a missionary, most Americans, you take a subject as taboo as like the bathroom, like we don't talk about that, right? That's considered crude, crass. You don't sit there and generally, if someone does, they're like a rude person, right? You don't sit around and talk about going to the bathroom that often. I was like, as a missionary, most Americans are literally interested in how you go to the bathroom. Like that's how much potential for content you as a missionary have. So I was like, cool, I want to help out my missionaries by like bringing awareness to them and like helping even, like raising support for them. I was like, what if I was Casey Neistat? I had millions of followers and I could literally then like feature a missionary and post a link and then them get a bunch of money raised. Now obviously I'm not Casey Neistat. I don't have 6-7 million followers, but the idea stands. And then on top of that, like what if throughout my documenting this, just like when they go to summer camp, it's just another avenue of kids then being encouraged and feeling like called into full-time missions. So I was like, okay, I like where this is going. So I could literally just travel, go on missions. I was like, it still sounds a little weird, but I can essentially go on missions trips, take my family on missions trips, take the youth group on missions trips, do all this mission trip stuff, and document it. Okay, that's kind of cool. Don't really know how it's going to work out, but I'll just go. I'll figure it out. Well, then a couple weeks later, Hurricane Harvey happens, and pastor mentions from the pulpit. He's got these old employees, who are friends who have a church there in this town called Port Arthur. And he's like, we're going to do a supply run down there, and maybe depending on what they need, maybe just drop off supplies, maybe stay and do a little bit of work. And I felt like I need to go to this, but I can't because it's gonna be during the week, and I teach during the week. So I remember literally going, like feeling like the Spirit, like you need to go. And I was like, okay, God, here's the thing. Yes, yes I do. Yes, this would be perfect in line with what we've been talking about. You've been showing me, but I can't because I have school. I'm not gonna stress about this. If you want me to go work it out, that's a Sunday. Then the very next day on Monday, the school director comes to me and goes, do you want to go on that trip? I'm like, yeah, possibly. And she's like, well, you know, if you want to go and if it ends up happening, we'll work it out. And sure enough, worked out. I just got back from it last Wednesday. See, this is Friday, so I've only been back from a few days. My wife was able to go in and cover, worked out the details to work it out. And then so I remember saying, okay, God, here's the thing. I need some clarity on this trip. This has been made pretty clear that this is what I need to do. I need a little bit of clarity because what's this gonna look like? How's this gonna fit into, you know, teaching 4 days a week, 9 months out of the year? I could do summer trips. I have a lot of time off. I mean, we have 3-day weekends. We can go up to like missions and stuff. You know, DC has a cool mission. There's a lot of stuff we could partner with around here, even in Richmond. So I could do a lot of stuff on weekends. We'll have like Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, Easter break, spring break, summer break. So I have a lot of breaks that we could do and fit these trips in on. So it's like, but I need a little bit of, so like I can cram it in kind of that way and make it work, but it's like I need a little direction. That takes me to Texas. And I literally went saying, okay, Lord, I need you to show me a few details on this trip and to really confirm this. Enter the LaFleurs. So our first day, we get there on Wednesday night. I believe it was the next day, Thursday. Like partway through the day, this truck rolls in and we weren't expecting any like loads. And it's this couple, John and LaFleur and his wife and his sister. And at first I'm like, that's really cool. They're here to like feed us, and that's cool because we weren't really expecting to eating a whole lot because we were on our own for food. And so we took like power bars, and I took a thing of peanut butter, you know, and like some Pringle type chips and stuff like that. There's a bunch of snack stuff, and we were like, we're gonna be working all day. We're just gonna have to just like eat snacks as if we're like on some mission trip in like a third world country where there's just not a lot of food. Cool. We went in knowing that. We ended up eating amazingly, by the way. We had amazing Cajun dinners most nights. They made us breakfast half the time we're there. Great lunch. It was amazing food. But more important than that, that night I overheard them talking about what they do. So I started talking with John LaFleur, and essentially, just to give you a brief idea, in a nutshell, what they do is they chase disasters, but not like the typical. So they chase a disaster, and they roll in. They have a trailer. He pulls the trailer in. They have all their own food. They fund it all themselves. They get donations from, you know, like their church and people they know and their connections, and they pull into a disaster area and they feed the workers. They also feed some of the people there too, so it depends on the situation. So they pulled in. So for the majority of the week we were there, they were feeding us. We had a group of 30-something people. They fed us multiple meals, some days 3 times a week, a couple days in the beginning. We were having dinner because we were out all day. We got to come home to an amazing dinner packed full of protein, Cajun sausages and chicken over rice and gumbo and pastalaya and jambalaya and these amazing. He lives on the bayou. He's like 23 feet from his porch to his boat on the bayou. So we had this amazing Cajun food. But like I said, more important than that, I got to pick his brain and how he got started. And it was extremely similar because I was like, Lord, I never even thought about disaster stuff. Like I was thinking about going to missionaries. So it's like, there's disaster stuff to go to and help out and show and raise awareness for. There's missions trips. There's a lot more than I was even thinking. And so what they do is very similar to what I want to do, except for they go in and they feed people when I want to go in and help and document and, you know, raise the awareness and support and all that. So it's very similar, and it was super helpful to clarify. And he really walked me through how they got started, what they do, all this kind of stuff. So it was a super helpful trip. So that really sums it up. I mean, I spent a year blogging, which led me to vlogging. I spent a year vlogging, really honing in my skills of documenting, shooting, editing, all that kind of stuff. Went on a couple mission trips, got the clarity on one, the confirmation on the other about what I need to do, and creating these videos. And I was telling Brandon, I was talking to her today, I was like, and it's not just all these trip things. Like, it's not like I can just go, I mean, I have a full-time job at the school and the youth pastor, so it's not like I'm gonna just do this like full-time travel around. There's obviously other, like, there'll be times where I can do that and it'll work out. I'm trying to find the best lighting. But there'll be other times when in between, I was like, I've always had these ideas and I've acted on a lot of them. Some of them I have acted on because I was like, what's the long-term value of doing these kind of like sporadic mission things? Like, me and a group of the youth kids, we went and took pizza and Pepsi to Uber drivers just to like love on them and show them some support. And they were like, what is this? What's going on? Like, why are you doing this? And, you know, are you from a church? What church are you from? How, you know, we've never just had anyone just bring us and feed us food before. I have a bunch of stuff like that. And again, sometimes I act on it, sometimes I don't, because I'm like, I don't really understand. This gives me a vehicle to be able to act on it more often and be able to document it and use it as something to inspire others, to give ideas, just be funny entertainment, because we had some idea that ended up not working out so well. But then on top of that, to create these purpose films, on top of the vlog stuff. And again, these purpose films are essentially just like an adventure film where they go on an adventure and they record it and they put together this kind of video essay on their adventure, or they go these travel films where they travel to somewhere and they put together this like beautiful video essay on it. I'm gonna have these purpose films where we do something intentionally, missions trip. I feel like I'm so dark. Missions trip, outreach, something like that, and we document it and put it out. And I was telling Brandon, it's like much like a pastor would go, like, let's say go to an event. Let's say there's a festival in town, right? He goes to the festival, he interacts with some people, he sees some stuff, he hears some stuff, he experiences basically the event, the environment, the people, and the Holy Spirit like gives him this idea. Then he goes back and he studies based off this kernel of this idea he had there, and creates a message and gets up and preaches it. I need to do something similar. Like, now obviously I still will be preaching. I preach and other communication, do one-on-one with students, whatever, but it's like I'm really seeing that God's pushing me, going, listen, look, your video stuff is one of your main forms of communication, and it's pushing me into that. So it's like, okay, so same thing, we'll go to an event, you know, whether it be me and Tyree or me and Tyler or me and an actual youth group where we take, you know, we go into something, whatever it is, go in, document what we're doing, and then put that together, do the research, have the verses, come up and present it. And then instead of getting up and talking for 30 to 60 minutes on it, having this purpose film that goes out as my message, essentially, to get this point that God wants to get through me across. So that's kind of where I am with this now. So you probably are seeing this on the Nate Ideas Facebook page, because maybe I'll put this on Facebook. I don't know. I mean, on YouTube. But I'm creating this video specifically for that page. You probably found this from one of the pieces of content I've done, or I've invited you, or I've tagged you in something. And you're wondering, what is this Nate Ideas thing? It looks like a business, but then it also looks like this guy going on these trips. And it really is both. And so one of the pieces of clarity I got on how to actually functionally run this thing, because it's like, look, I don't want to raise a ton of money. I mean, I don't mind doing like a Patreon type thing or something, but it's like, I don't want to constantly be like raising money for myself. I want money going to missionaries, and like in this case with Harvey, like to the Rock Church or whatever it is. Like, if people feel like, oh, I want to give, I want it to go to the thing in that episode, not necessarily to me. So I was like, how do I fund it? And I was like, well, if I start my old production company again, Nate Ideas, which I could take on projects, and so I can take on client work. I've already been doing these like snackable or micro content for podcasters, and that's been going really well. I've been selling those for like $75 a piece, where I take their podcast and I break it down into this micro or snackable content. So I've been making some money on the side of that, and it's been, you know, going really well. So I can continue to scale that, and I can do the rest of the business. You know, I'm in Richmond, Virginia, so there's a lot of, it's a bigger city. I can do wedding videos. I can start doing business videos again, where I produce videos for businesses. Basically restart up my production company, Nate Ideas, that I had in the past, and I used to actually support my wife and I on. That was like our main income, because I think I just had a little part-time whatever job, and so I did weddings and other projects, and, you know, so I was like, okay, do that again, and that can then fund the trips and the adventures and the things we want to do for these purpose films and for the vlog. And then as I produce these adventure films and vlog, that's like content marketing, because then people see that and then they see, you know, it goes back to like the Nate Ideas thing, like, oh, this is, oh, cool, well, we could hire him to do our business thing, and then that supports a good cause, or hire him to do our wedding, or hire him to do blah, 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 whatever it is. And then that supports, and so we're already following him, we like his stuff, and we could support him by hiring him versus any of the other people. So it kind of works in a cycle to where the money I make from the production side funds the purpose film side and the mission side, but then the content from the purpose film and mission side then brings in the awareness and the traffic to then help get more projects, which then funds the thing, which produces more content, which funds that more. So that's the idea. So that's why it's like production company / YouTube channel on missions trips. And so it's kind of both. And just like if a construction worker went around helping in relief work and helping build churches, and then use that as content to people go, oh, this is a construction worker in my region, let me hire him, because then that money that he makes as profit goes back into his relief work he does. Same kind of idea, except for, you know, it's video versus construction, or, you know, feeding people. So that's kind of what it is. If you're kind of wondering what this whole Nate Ideas page is and what Nate the Great channel is, that's what it is. And so yes, you can hire me. Yes, again, I prefer the majority of the stuff going towards the mission stuff, but if for some reason God lays on your heart to help support, I don't really have an avenue for that right now. So if it really is something you're interested in, you can contact me. We can see, maybe work it. I don't know. But right now, my main way to help support would be sharing my content to get my story and awareness out there. And then if you're in need of video production services, to hire me, or if you know someone, you know, forward me along. If you're at a company, forward me to marketing manager, or the senior pastor, or the district youth director, whoever it is who would possibly be needing video production services, content creation services, that kind of thing. So yeah, that about wraps up this video. It's kind of long, but again, it's kind of the backstory of what Nate Ideas is, and hopefully I'll be keeping you guys updated. And I've got another version of the Harvey Purpose film coming out. That was the one that I have out, was a rushed one, so we could play it that Sunday. We weren't even done there until Monday. We left Tuesday morning, so I didn't even have all the footage of everything we did, but it was one so we could watch that Sunday. I have my full one that'll come out, and hopefully the next week. And then I have a bunch of California content and vlog stuff to catch up on. So if you haven't already, also subscribe, Nate the Great on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm just Jared Elrod on Instagram. That's another way to see on day to day, because the vlog stuff there is a delay on it. So I'm not like vlogging and then editing, putting it out the next day. There is a few months of a gap, and I maybe will catch it up at some point, but as of right now, there's a gap. And then of course, if you haven't already, follow me on Facebook at Nate Ideas, and keep updated on all the content. So thank you guys for all your supports, and I appreciate and love all of you. Have a blessed day.